Welcome to the Pulse to Consciousness. How high are you? Hi, Dwayne. How high are you today?
Hi, Marla. Well, feeling pretty high, I reckon. I guess you could say. Pretty
Yeah,
high.
we had some really high levels of electromagnetic fields in the Schumann resonance recently. Were you able to feel that, the
Yes.
frequency?
As a matter of fact, today I was involved in some grid work on July the 6th. I think it was what was the Monday. Would have been the 8th. July the 8th. The Schumann resonance was really high that day, and we were working some grid work in Arkansas. And so that tied into a couple of days before on the 4th, where I had gotten involved with the group doing some grid work. Um,
Well, let me introduce you to everybody, so everyone knows what you do. Dwayne, I met Dwayne. Did I meet you? Was it on Twitter or
I
X?
I contacted you about some of the work you did, and we talked about doing the humming session. I was just kind of I think I had seen your reading of some of the Voyagers or something. I
Was it
saw
on social media? You saw it floating
that may
by?
have been. It was either on YouTube or Rumble.
Okay. And so Dwayne contacted me and we started talking, and he took my workshop, that my 6 week workshop course. So this work, and Dwayne is a dragon master. He works with crystal grids. He also has a connection to the Guardian Alliance. So I wanted to have Dwayne on the Pulse to Consciousness. How high are you in consciousness? Because I wanted to hear his thoughts on the workshop and how it benefited him. And then I wanted to talk about your actual work that you do, because since you worked with grids, that would be in that realm of Indigo One. But I want to go deeper into that in a little bit. So let's start off. Okay, what did you feel with the workshop, with the work we did together? What have you seen come through, or what were you feeling in the process of us working together?
Well, it was a the post of consciousness, so it was sort of like the introduction to the Keylonic sciences, and we delved a little deeper. It seemed that the majority of the group had some knowledge of it already, so we kind of advanced pretty quickly through it. But
Right.
so yeah,
Yeah.
it was pretty good learning and everything, and people able to come together on the Zoom and see each other's faces and interact. So, so that was good because prior to that, what I was learning about the Keylonic science, it was just more like somebody's YouTube video, and it was more kind of like a hangout thing. And so I like to go a little deeper. So I appreciated that aspect that you like to go deeper and interact with people with the teaching. So, and then um,
We did a manifestation workshop. Did you want to expand on that? Because I think did something happen?
yeah, as uh, what was that? There was we did that manifestation session, um, and we did that because we had kind of gone through the Keylonic sciences so much. So we did that in the crystal one. But so yeah, so the manifestation one that was at the was that towards the middle of June? Did that I think?
It was about, I think it was the third to the last third. It was maybe the third session or fourth. It was the third session, I believe. So it was
Yeah,
halfway through.
it was somewhere around some middle of June, and
I'd have to look back on videos, but um I think it was towards the last week of June,
so
possibly.
yeah, I so during the manifestation, my part of it, or my request for manifestation, was to have some resources and things to do more grid work. And I was going to have some opportunities coming up. At the time, I didn't really know what, but I knew that it was coming up because with the Dragon Masters is what we do is resetting grids and putting codes in what we call new Lemurian, bringing in a new heaven and new earth.
Can you
So,
talk a little louder? I'm having a little trouble hearing you.
um,
There you go. Yeah, that's better. Thank you.
so yeah, so we work with codes, new codes, as part of being co-creators and trying to create a new world. And so anyway, so I knew I had some great work coming up. Wanted resources for it, so uh, we did the song for the co-creation,
Mm-hmm.
and then afterwards, everyone got to sort of see what they saw as, as far as to amplify manifestation from each person in the group to add to it. And so that was very interesting. But so so we did that, and that was um, involved that I would be involved with crystals and crystal work, and you had another participant, Nicole, who um, had said that she saw me with some crystals and a truck and this and that, and asked if I worked with them, and so which I hadn't. But so right after that, I got invited to do some crystal work in Arkansas. There was a mission at House of
Oh,
Hana
wow.
in Arkansas, so I got invited to go along with that. So I planned on going to that, and then in the meantime, now this was in Little Rock, and then it was to go uh, do a few days in Little Rock doing some great work, and then we were going to go west of there to Mount Ida, is an area with crystal caves. The whole area is, there's a lot of crystals in that area. So we were going to
Okay.
go crystal hunting afterwards,
Mm-hmm.
and um, so in the meantime, I heard about uh, some buried solar discs in another group I had been following that does grid work. I've been following their work and wanting to have some courses that I was going to take. And so I was watching some of their grid work, and they mentioned about some solar discs. These are future prophecy buried solar discs. That
What's a
one of
solar disk? I mean, for our viewers that I don't even know what a solar disk is. So can you explain what that is?
so there are some prophecies that are like for future prophecies, um, that there are these buried solar discs, and there's like 12 on the North American continent, and several others are all around the world. But
Is
12,
this like the CDT plates that you're talking about that are made from selenite? The
there,
cloister door terra?
yeah, something similar to that. And so, um, from what I understand, there's still a lot more details about it to go into.
Okay.
So I got involved with, in that because they talked about one of them being in Arkansas, and Pinnacle Mountain in Arkansas, which is just to the northwest of Little Rock, right outside the area that they were. The team we had there was, and so I investigated that a little bit. Ended up getting in a grid work session, a remote grid work session, like 4.5 hour session on the 4th of July with this other group, and so we dealt with it, and um, they asked me to participate in activating one of these solar discs, the one in Arkansas.
I see. Okay.
And so we did that, some different protocols and stuff we did. And that was an interesting session because we actually had some Atlantean technology from spinning
Oh,
crystal
wow.
wheels that was being used during that. Something I hadn't seen before. And so that was new to me. This comes out of
Right.
Germany.
You sent me the video and I listened to it and it was very interesting, but I want to go backwards a little bit here, Dwayne. With us doing the manifesting, it was to get you to increase your work capacity. You wanted to get more work so you can have a financial abundance to go and do more traveling and more grid work, right?
Yes.
Okay, so did that happen? Did you end up getting more work?
Uh, well, well, yeah, work did pick up. Uh, Work did pick up, and so I have had money to do everything I want to do because right now I've got, that session led to Kauai Hawaii mission that's coming up.
When do you go to Kauai? And what kind of work are you going to be doing there?
That would be connected with the guardian, like a sort of, it's a sacred guardian sort of mission, going to Kauai, going to sacred sites. This is helping to. We're going to be focusing on uh, clearing negative energies and
Hmm.
bringing helping to bring in the divine feminine energies.
Okay.
And because right now is a very important time of helping to bring those energies and to balance those energies, which is what we do at House of Huna, is we bring in the father, mother, and the child codes together. And so it's just bringing about the alignment, trying to return
Hmm.
for the royal family. And that speaks to me of returning to that Lyrian connection. And
I'm doing some research real quick here. So I want to bring this, and I'm sure you already know, but in Hawaii, and I believe in Kauai, there is a Stargate there.
yeah, from what I
So
understand, though, that's been shut down, at least temporarily. Um,
because I'm looking that up right now in some of my notes, I wanted to see in Hawaii where the Stargate is, because it's not it's not just a natural Stargate. We're talking universal.
yeah.
We're talking galactic, planetary, and then universal Stargates. So do you know where that Stargate is in Hawaii? I know it's in Kauai.
Mm,
I think it's in Kauai. Isn't that where the fire was too? No, not Kauai. It was uh, uh, um uh, uh, Oahu, was it? Not, was it Oahu?
Lahona?
Lahaina.
I
It
know.
was Lahaina. Okay, so I think that it will take some researching to find exactly. See, to because I am going through these stargates, and because I wanted to find the one that pertains to Hawaii. Um, I don't. My capacity in my mind can't hold every Stargate location. Plus, because we have like 24, there's a lot.
Yeah, some of them some of them have been moved, shut down, and moved. Um,
And those 24 just within our own system and our own universe. There's others too. But yeah,
right.
so the Stargates, when you say shut down, what do you mean? What does that mean to shut down a Stargate? I found it, by the way. It's in
Well,
Kauai. It's Stargate and the 12 tribes. It's connected to
yes,
the inner gate and island of Kauai, Hawaii. Its underground link up into the south of France. Montskill, I think that's how you pronounce it, Montsegur.
that's
So it's, oh,
the
go ahead.
Q site you're talking
Yeah, it's intergate. It's a Crystal Star hosts communication network for Intergate 12, Kauai, Hawaii. It's an underground link up. It connects to France. And then it's the part of the 12 tribes. The root race I don't know. It says 12, so it's there's seven root races and five cloister races. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's 12. And that's the very beginnings of the seedings of humans. Is there's seven root races and five cloister races.
Yeah, and I have this right here. This is where we have Voyagers 2, page 311 here. In 22,003, 26 BC, the Luciferian Anunnaki races decimated Guardian races attempting to intervene in an event known as the Ayani Massacre, which
Oh
took
yeah, the Ayani massacre. Yeah.
the remnants
Mhm.
of the Lemurian continent now known as Kauai, Hawaii.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
2009 BC, they collapsed the permanent hydro suspension fields of Lohas, northeast Atlantis, and the Lohas Celtic Druidic freeze-out in an attempt to destroy the Magi angelic human grail kings in exile there. This event gave us our last major glacial period of 21,009 to 14,000 BC.
So by you guys going to Hawaii and doing your crystal grid work, what are you guys going to activate? Are you activating the Stargate there? I mean, what's the goal? And then how do you do this? Because people who don't know about being a crystal grid worker, which indigo ones are the grid workers, they're working with the they're anchoring and releasing energy fields to connect to the grids to open up energy forces. Is that correct? With the crystal grid working?
Yes, and it's sort of like uh, running a round table, so to speak. Part of that.
It's basically like what we did with our manifestation. So it's kind of interesting. It's like a round table. Everybody goes around and they do the work, and then you talk about what you saw, right? And then it's a manifestation of it too, right? Or
Yeah, and part of that, we'll be going to certain sites, sacred sites that hold certain energies that we'll be picking up on and collecting. We'll be using crystals and other technology
do you
to
sing? Do songs too?
yes, yeah, there'll be yes, sound and light. It's all sound and light.
So it's chelotic science is basically what you guys are doing,
Yeah,
working with.
a lot of uh, manifestation, intention, the thoughts, and yes, using sound, songs, what else?
Do you are you do you go- Are you using chelotic science when you're there, or is there a different type of songs that you guys are doing that are more traditional in the culture of Hawaii?
There is going to be um, there's going to be both intermingled, and then we're still. It's about 2 months off still. It's in September, about September. So we're still in the process too of organizing what exactly we're going to incorporate. There's still time for input on that.
You well you've done this before. You were you in South America?
I
Your
went
trip
to I went to Mexico.
with Mex.
For the
Okay.
that was for the graduation for the Dragon Masters. What they call Dragon Masters Intensive. It's 2 days on the beach in Mexico. Uh,
The Dragon
with,
Masters is the name of the group you belong to that does grid work, right?
well, the Dragon Masters is a course. It is House of Huna is the organization. They have a course called Dragon Masters, and
I
so
see.
it
So
is.
you are in the House of Huna.
Yes, and they have what they call a seal. It is a acronym. It's a ceremony that is done. It's sort of an initiation, if you will. But it's called a seal, and its acronym is Source Element Ascension Light. And so I believe you watched the video that was part of the seal. Originally, I did it online. You can do it online and or in person. If you do it online, when you do meet the initiator, if you will, when you meet him in person, he does what you call a bump, and that's the video that I sent you. It's sort of an upgrade because there's a physical aspect to it. It would be sort of like, and sort of like, as you saw, to me, it sort of helped to break up seals, like with
So
the
it was it like a not, I don't want to say initiation, but like a welcoming you into the Huna,
yeah, in
so you
Huna.
can.
What Huna means is one in the many and many in the one. So it's just an expression.
Mhm.
We're all one,
Right, the oneness.
and then
What?
from that they take your name, uh, um, and from the sounds of your name, that's considered the essence of your uh, spark that you are of creator or source. So from the sounds of my name, this is where you get the MaWaHaRi part of it. Um, and so it's I would be considered from House of Huna, MaWaHaRi, with those sounds, and those sounds just represents that essence of source that I represent in this manifestation of source that you see here that I am.
I'm having a hard time hearing you. You speak so softly, which is
Oh,
very low. You speak very. It's beautiful, but I want to make sure our viewers hear you as well
yes,
because you
yeah.
have some interesting information. So let me ask you this: when you've been on, how many crystal grid workshops have you done?
Just a few. That's why this is what is so interesting about the manifestation part, because most of it has been since that. As I
Since
say,
we,
yeah, that Fourth of July, I got in on that, and that carried over. I was on the 6th through the 11th, I think it was supposed to be in Arkansas. I was supposed to be there for a whole week, but I ended up not going at the last minute. And so, but I still was helping remotely. I was working on my crystals. I had a grid set up here that I was the work that I did on the
wow.
floor tied into that because we we through our remote work cleared some grids and put energy into it with the crystal technology, the spinning wheels and stuff, and so it all just tied together, and then that carried
Mhm.
over, and so that led to me also have a trip next month going to Oslo, Norway.
Oh my gosh! So you have 4 trips planned?
Yeah, I got a trip. Then that's grid work in Oslo, Norway.
Wow. So our manifestation,
During the
and
Lionsgate, actually, next month. 8/8 Lionsgate. I'll be there.
yeah, are you going to Sedona for that one, or where are you going for
No,
Lionsgate?
Lionsgate, I'll be in Oslo, Norway.
Oslo.
Yes.
Wow.
But
How
I'm going
long
to
will
be
you be in Oslo for?
about a week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you documenting this? I hope so, and journaling
Much as
it.
I can, yes.
Because we'll have to get together again. I want to hear how it goes so our viewers can hear about your crystal grid work. Because I don't know. So did you just like, how did this come about with you? Did you just have a calling? Like, I just need to do grid work. It just feels right. How did this all started?
I, it's hard to really say because the way it just kind of all just like happened um, when I got sealed through the house of Hoon. I had that, and then I knew that involved working with grid work, and so in the meantime, I got interested in some grid work courses through another group, and then, like I said, after the manifestation, I graduated from the Dragon Masters, like kind of in the middle of your posted consciousness.
Oh,
Of course,
okay.
remember the um, I was in the airport for like 14
That's
hours during one of the
right. That
yeah
was the very first class workshop we started. You did it out of the country. You're coming back from Mexico.
yes
And you were at the airport taking my course, which is awesome. I love
yeah
it. That's
yeah
so
I had
great.
time to kill if you want so to speak. So yeah,
That's loyalty.
Right.
Thank you. You showed up to every class.
Yeah, it was great. You know, learned a lot, and like I said, I feel like it really helped lead to where I'm at now and where I'm going.
That is so
So
great. I'm so happy for you. And that we as a collective, how, so when we're doing manifest work and we're working together, spinning the particle and the thoughts and pulling it into parallel earth and back and forth, and then it amplifies it. I think it does help. It would be good to have all of us to see what other people have, what manifestation has taken place for the others that did this. I mean, we spent a good like 3 hours helping one another manifest our goals together.
yeah,
And you have all these trips planned now, which is part of what it was that you were manifesting.
and in addition to that, I don't know if there was a way I maybe I should have gave you a heads up, but during that Zoom around the 155 mark, I was looking at it earlier today, going over it for review, but um, like I said, Nicole had brought in part of her visualization was that she saw me with all these crystals and and so interestingly, I don't know if you can see this one.
Is that clear? Is that what kind? Is that quartz? Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, is it green? I see green.
It's quartz. It's got some other things in there. This is the
Yeah.
bottle like crystal I was talking about. This comes from like Chesapeake Bay area. This was
Oh,
I
it's
was using
beautiful.
during the 4th of July session. This thing was charged, so charged up. Uh, I had people holding it and just could feel it, and so that carried
Oh,
over.
sure. It was
This one,
holding a frequency, wasn't it?
yeah, this was actually supposed to be gifted to one of our ceremonies in Arkansas. So this has a special place going in Arkansas when I get there.
So
And then
you bring your crystal, your favorite crystals with that you do your work with. You have a whole bunch that you bring with.
yes, and I always there is a crystal shop that they gift me crystals so that I can gift them in my work.
Oh, that's so great. I know I gifting is really I give a lot of gifts. When I go to places, I always bring gifts to people. Like I'll make these feather earrings or I do smudging wands. I think gifts are really important to give to people. Oh, I've seen that. That is that selenite? That's not selenite, is it?
No,
It's another quartz.
this is another quartz.
Is that
It,
your favorite? Is the crystal quartz? Because that's one of mine. I mean, it's universal. It helps with all the chakras. Yeah, I like those points. I like the crystal points a lot. Those are beautiful.
this one's actually a seed. This is going to be
That's
planted
gorgeous.
for one of those crystal cities. Going to be a seed crystal right there for that.
Those are so beautiful, so beautiful. I appreciate you showing us your crystals and for the viewers that work with crystals. So this was one of my things is that I don't use a grid. I just use them with what my feelings, because I'm a clairsentient. I do things through audio, telepathically, and feelings. And so I put mood crystals around and use them and do light language with my hands with them. And for those people, we don't have to actually use a grid, right? Like a set location. Can you do with what you feel is right and place crystals and move them around the way you feel is necessary? And is it still doing work? That's what my question is.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about crystals is, the power and the energy, everything is within you. They are just something to accentuate what you do. And the way that crystals work is you can program them. I mean, you know, uh, they store memory and things like that. And we're looking at crystal technology right now, and the screens and televisions we're
That's
using
right.
that, and so they're used everywhere. And so yeah, they're just they help to amplify and magnify, and you can place your intentions into them. You can place them in different wherever you want to with your. They're good for storing those intentions, keeping a hold of that. Um, but ultimately, it comes from you and just through the crystal. Uh, and then the crystals themselves each have their own attribute that can amplify um, help with your intentions or help you because of their they work like we do. We're able to hold certain frequencies. The same with the crystals; they can hold certain frequencies.
Right. I mean, it's live consciousness. Do you think that these crystals feel stuck in where they are with their consciousness? Because when I was I'm going to bring up psychedelics here. When I've done psilocybin, which doesn't agree with me at all, by the way, I kept thinking, oh my gosh, my crystals, they're trapped, they're feeling trapped, they want to come out, they're stuck. Do you agree?
Yes, and it's interesting that you brought that up because um, the shop that gives me the crystals that I use in my work is a very unique location where they come from, and I've been curious about it. Uh, I've actually been granted access to the land where they come from, like around the end of September or beginning. Uh, just because the flies are so bad that right now we're going to wait and hold off. But I've been
Hmm.
given access to the land to go and investigate because um, the man who owns the land where they come from, he brought them to the crystal shop that I work and associate with. They because they were just starting to show up, popping out of the ground on his land, and he was like finding them everywhere, and he was all excited, and he just was collecting them, and he said he just felt like they didn't want to be held there anymore. So he started bringing them in his van to the crystal shop, and so yes, but that was part of that is that it seems like they didn't want to be held there where they were anymore. And as I started thinking about it, and I think that they may have been used in the past for like negative alien agenda
Hmm. Oh, well,
sometimes,
yeah.
and then because he said he felt like they didn't want to be there anymore. So it's to me they wanted to be in better hands, if you will, that they could be utilized properly. So yeah,
Right.
I do think that yes, they don't want to be held in certain consciousness anymore, and that's part of the New Earth thing is purging, cleansing, clearing the grids, and restoring it
So
to
you,
first principles.
so would that entail setting some of the consciousness free from crystals
Yeah, that's where we would go, and uh,
or
we would
heal
clear.
their consciousness?
Yeah, yeah, we you could clear the grids. That's part of what we did on the work in Arkansas.
Yeah,
Run visualizations of. Um, are you familiar with Mount Kailash? It's a
I'm
sacred
not.
mountain So there's, it's sacred waters dripping down over those crystals and cleansing and
Oh,
clearing them and
where's
running.
that?
That is over in Tibet, I believe it is.
Have you
I know,
been there?
I think it's a prop. It's a, I don't know, uh, Chinese government, I think, owns it, or at least
I think
whatever.
they try to. I think there's like there is some land. I think there's a portion that is not Chinese owned because it's like sacred.
Correct. Yeah, yeah. And so, but yeah, so we just visualize dripping those sacred waters down on that and running that through the river systems in Arkansas and the underground river systems and everything. So we use a visualization to do that as part of the clearing and cleansing. And then we run electrical current, like say from like lightning,
Hmm.
in our visualization through that to just shock the system, so to speak, and clear everything. And then we brought in our intentions on that.
Do you ever bring in 12D current, the 12D MaWaHaRi current through?
Yeah, we invoked the MaWaHaRi in our work. We did
Oh, good.
Amethyst Order, Emerald Order.
Hmm.
Um, we did a lot.
That's so great. That's really
Yeah.
cool. So, just because I was on psychedelics doesn't mean I was losing my mind because I really like my friend's dog broke my crystal bracelet, and I'm like, he was setting the crystals free.
Yeah.
That's part of cleaning crystals, in the sunlight or in on selenite because they hold consciousness. I'm just sharing this for viewers because some people don't know that you're supposed to clean your crystals and then set your intentions,
Yes.
especially if other people are using them. And so, like when you get back from your trips or during in your interim of your trips, are you cleaning your crystals and setting intentions each day or each time you use them?
Yeah. Some I'll cleanse and some I'll hold that carry over somewhere, um, and just keep charging it up. And but yes, some
Very cool.
cleanse and clear, and especially if it's something like you're using ceremonial, and they're different sort of crystals too. There's Vogel cut crystals. Those are really powerful. You can really use those.
Which would you say is the most powerful crystal that you've worked with?
I, for me, these ones that I've been getting gifted are uh, so far the ones in the Lemurian crystals that I, I have some Lemurian crystals as well, and which that's
So
what that one is the seed crystal.
that's so cool. It's a little hard to see. For the viewers who don't know much about Lemurian or Lyra or anything, do you want to? I can share a little bit about Lyria Syrian, which was the first seeding. It's in the cradle of Lyra. It came from Terra in the cataclysm, and it's part of our galaxy, right? And correct me if I'm wrong. But the Anuhazi, which are the first seeding from the Emerald Order, were on Lyra in the Cradle of Lyra. Is that correct?
Yes,
From what you're understanding?
and that was also first one of the first of three collectives, I think it was, and they were also where the first language came from.
Right.
Um, so the first sound and writing uh, came from them. Um, well, of course, they had a more of a telepathic language before that too.
Well, the first
Yeah,
sound would be the breath the sound fields. That's where the sound came from. In the sound field above that is the void. But the first language, since it was the first seeding, right? It came that would be the first actual vocal sound would be Anuhazi then, right? The first ancient language would be from the Leone lion race, which is connected to Stargate 4, which is in Egypt, which is Giza, and that would be the Sphinx. So our viewers know the connection when they think the Sphinx is not a person, it is a lion. And we have a grid. We have the lion, great white lion grid. That's one of the Atlantean, right? Is it the That's part of the Atlantean Pylon Implant Network. I believe the great white lion. But there's also a Lemurian grid, which would be the Lemurian Pylon Implant Network, the LPIN. And so we have a lot of grids, and some of these grids, this is part of your work, is connecting the Earth's grids with the grids above. So the crystal work with the grids through that whole system. Which one of the other grids with the Metatronic coding, I believe, would be part of the Jehovian seals. And that could be, I don't know if that's the Nibirian Diotic crystal grid. Are you familiar with that one?
Yes. Yeah.
So what do you know about the Nibirian Diotic crystal grid? Do you know it much? Because I don't. I can research it, but I thought I'd ask you first if you knew anything. And this is, I mean, I'm not, it's okay if you don't know. I just would like to learn, and our viewers too would. Yeah.
Yeah, that is all in the Atlantean conspiracy section of the Voyagers material.
Yeah. See, the thing, these books, you guys, they're like 600 pages. It's 600 pages double-sided. So it's more like 1,200, right?
I can speak to that real quick as far as the NDC grid. But so this is in the Atlantean conspiracy section, talking about the Holy Grail and the Stargates. But here's a section here in particular. It says the Grail quest for Earth's planetary Templar Stargates continued into Angelic Human 12 Tribe Seeding 3, following destruction of Seedings 1 and 2 via Grail Quest Wars with the Anunnaki and Draconian fallen angelic legions. During the Lucifer Rebellion, the Anunnaki Luciferians gained partial control over Earth's Templar through a device called the Nibiruian Diotic Crystal Grid, which is still in operation today and serves a key role in the potential outcome of the 2000 stellar activation cycle. So it's a little bit older material or information, but that's where that came in.
I'm trying to pull up some.
Was an Anunnaki. And this is what gets into the Jehovian seals with the whole, the whole Christ on the cross thing is specifically a Nibiruian. The cross represents the Nibiru.
I wanted to pull up what the grids look like, but I'm having trouble finding it in my files here. Because I wanted the viewers to see what the grids look like. I might be able to post it when I.
It's in Voyagers 2, page 527.
I don't have any of my books here with me, but I can pull them up because I don't think I wanted to show right here because I'm doing a screen share right now. So I'm going to stop it.
Can you see my screen?
Oh, you know what? Here, let's see if I can get this. Oh yeah, that's it. That's it. Um, that's the Great Lion. So I'm on the master, Keylontic master right here. So I'm gonna pull up. Okay. Is that the Menti series? No.
It could be because this is Voyager 2, Secrets of Amenti.
Oh, okay, I'm sure it's in there. Let me just go to Voyagers. Um, because this is a big deal, you guys. The grids are a really this is the work. Here we go. This is it, the APINs.
And yeah, that's a Guardian system, by the way. That is connected to the Guardians.
Yeah, crystal grid work, you guys, is a really big deal. It's a lot. It is. It is a commitment because it's expensive. You have to travel. Okay, this is up. There we go. So what Dwayne was just showing was this: the Great Hawaiian Lion. Can you see it on your screen?
Yes.
Okay, so all these lines, there's 12 vertical axi atonal lines. Now, you guys have to remember, these lines are also connected to our chakras, aren't they? We are connected to these grids, and this is how they've been doing mind control with us, is through this grid system. Okay, example, Metatronic coding. Metatron is an energy field. Metatron, it's a lineage that its consciousness fell, even though they might be doing some recovery work right now because of all the grid repairs, right? So we keep ascending. If we were stuck in constant Metatronic coding, which is a constant swirl, which is the Fibonacci, we've been encoded in the Metatronic coding for a long time. This keeps us from ascending. So we know we're all rising in consciousness, and this code is starting to take in a force. It's a swirl pattern, like a shell or a flower, a specific flowers that have this pattern. So the ones that are stuck in the black hole, the matrix, will stay in that if they can't pull themselves back up to the Christed timeline, which is reaching up to God consciousness source and a high all through the dimensions all the way up, because that's where we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be creating as in creation and alive longer than we have been. So when you're stuck in this Metatronic coding, your morphogenetic fields burn off, and that's death. So we know that death is just the body's going away, and the soul's ascending up to the stairway creation, going upward. They're ascending. They're still ascending, but we're doing it while we're in body. We're actually changing. We're going through involution. Our since we're connected to stargates, we are, there's angelic humans, as most people have heard, and then we have the indigos. Okay. So Dwayne and I are indigos, and when we do this kind of work, he's indigo 1, I'm an indigo 2. I do a little bit of grid work, so that means indigos also help the grid workers in a lot of regards too, but they're primarily taking the load of grid work. And this is an example of one of the grids. This is connected to 12 points. It is also the Earth's Templar to run an unnatural decode 10 code pulse. That would be your Anunnaki, Draconian, Metatronic coding. Those are from a lineage of the sun called the Black Sun. And so indigos are about 24 to 48 strands of DNA. And those sun lineages are the Emerald Sun Order, the Double Diamond Sun, the Sun, 12 Diamond Sun. And so this Draconian is the Black Sun. The other negative sun lineages are what is it? Balil, Bilal. And then there's another one too. I can't remember what it is. But these sun lineages are connected to the grids also, so that's why I bring it up. Okay, so this one's it's upside down. This is the Golden Eagle APIN. This is the well, so let me go back. The Great White Lion, that would be that's the part of the Emerald Order because it's the Anuhazi, Elohai Elohim, Leone Anuhazi. So that system, this is the Atlantean pylon. This is also connected to the Atlantean conspiracy. This is also connected to Lyria, the cradle of Lyra, Lemurian. And so yeah, this are you working with this eagle run?
The eagle one?
The Great White Lion? Oh, I'm sorry, the Great White Lion, not the eagle.
Well, it does have the connection to the four faces of man, which is the Ayani Indigos, the
right.
LPIN system.
So that's Lyrian. So that would be the four faces of man is another grid. And that is also connected to the island. I was just looking at it. Where is the four faces of man? The four faces of man is one of those statues, Easter Island, that's connected to the four faces of man. I don't, did you see that? That's another grid. Wonder if it's right coming around here. It is. This is I keep going down. It's really cool, interesting to read these maps. It's hard for people to just like jump in and have an understanding of what this actually means, you know?
Yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot to sort out.
Mm-hmm.
Even still ongoing information updates and changes.
Yep. It even says here, you know, the Q12 is Kauai, Hawaii. So you're working with the Q site there in Hawaii, aren't you? Here it is. Okay, this is also connected, I believe, to the Jehovah's Seals, the four horsemen. It's the apocalypse. I do Jehovah's seal removal. These seals are given to us at birth. It's a gift. I'm kidding. It's not really a gift. It's a gift from the draconian, from the one world order. They are on the left side of our body. It's on the feminine side. The left side is the receiving. The right side is the giving. It's the masculine. Okay, and so this Jehovah's seals, we release them. And it will, those keep you from ascension too. And so it's also considered the apocalypse in biblical, in the Bible. So the horse represents 4 of the 12 natural stellar currents and the carrier wave frequencies, and the first 4 Earth's natural 12-star crystal seals. That runs into the Earth's Templar to begin activation or corresponding to stargates and acetonial lines. So when you're doing your grid work, you're also releasing seals and activating so stargates too, I would imagine.
Yes.
It's all working together.
Yes.
So you're healing these grids so they can activate to help us in our ascension.
Correct. That is shutting down portals as well. Negative portals.
Yep. Okay, so here it is. It's upside down, but it says Jehovah's Seals. Can you see that? And it tells you where it's located in the body. People, or if you, I don't know how to turn this around. But this is where the seals are connected to in our bodies, so people can see that the grid work that you do are connected to our body. So thank you for your work and the Huna, your Dragon Master group. I mean, we really should be in gratitude for the work that you guys have been doing and your groups that you attend to on YouTube. I watched the meeting. It was really interesting because I didn't really know what grid workers, what they really do. So not only are grid workers going to specific places, I'll stop screen sharing now. Not only are grid workers going to locations to do work, you're doing roundtables and manifesting and doing visuals in meetings online.
Yes. And
amazing. Thank you for your work and your team. Tell them I say thank you, and I just don't think people have an understanding of how important this kind of work is.
yeah, I didn't myself until I started being involved in it, and it just having the background of the information, especially reading the Voyagers material, will give you a strong, like you say, understanding of why it is the importance of it. Because it's not just like one and done. You get in there, you get out. These things, like as you see when you read the Voyagers materials, the Guardians come in, they do some work, they fix things, and then they have, and then they come back and they got to fix it again because
Well, these grids are connected to stargates. We are connected to stargates. If these grids don't get repaired, it affects us. So when somebody releases their Jehovian seals, let's just say the foreman, or going through the what is it called? It's the apocalypse. They're going through we're in the end times. It's important to release these seals to help all the systems to heal.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing repair work and for the stargates too. This is a calling. People just don't go, yeah, hey, I want to do this. I mean, this is a calling. You're an indigo. You're indigo 1. Do you feel like you're indigo 1? Do you feel like you're other indigos? I mean, do you feel like because indigo 2 is the healing and guiding. Indigo 3, for the viewers, work with polarities. They're the ones with 2 different personalities, good, evil, and they're constantly at battle. That they have it the hardest. So out of those,
yeah.
What do you, I mean, you don't have to say, I don't want to put you on the spot, but you're truly, I mean, you're doing grid work. You're doing indigo 1 stuff.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting because until recently, I wouldn't have thought of myself as an indigo 1. I would have been maybe more of a 3 because I had growing up until recent years that back and forth battle a lot.
Yeah, and they have it the hardest. I mean, they have more addictions and personality things. It's a real battle.
Yeah, and so mine was a lot more emotional and
Yeah. Uh,
traumas and things like that, family
do you
karmic.
feel do you feel like this crystal work, I'm sorry for interrupting. Do you feel like some of this crystal work has helped you balance that polarity shift in you? Do you feel some healing going on?
Yeah, definitely. It's like you say, feeling that indigo 3 side more. So it's been a kind of a tough battle to get where I'm at now. And I think working with the crystals does help because it helps me to focus more on my intentions and what do I really want. Um, and in some other, like I'm learning about the star nations and everything. And part of my Huna essence name has some some very big ties to that. But
So tell us about the Star Nation. What do you know about the Star Nation? I don't know much about the Star Nation. Are they part of the well, there's councils in the Star Nation too. I mean, it's a lot of councils. I mean, there's millions.
well, particularly the ones I'm speaking of are the ones that are like returning. So, like the felines would be one uh, of those. The unicorns would be another Star Nation. The
So
bears,
would it
the
be
whale.
like animals and elementals?
Correct. Yeah, and
Okay.
um, um, so yeah, so it's more of these the animals of in their the embodiment of their essences and what they bring, and so it's getting away from part of what's new Earth stuff is getting away from the old zodiac system too, but those star nations sort of represents it's like 12 around the one, and that one uh, would be the nation of the Holy Spirit, would be also as considered a star nation as well. And so there are some teachings out of Hungary that they would delve deep into the Akashic records to bring forth a lot of this information. Uh, and the it's significant too with the felines and the dragon nations. Dragon nations are in there too. And so this is part of the story of the fall and the redemption of the fall is these star nations are returning back with now in benevolence. Say like with the dragons in particular, there was a sort of a um, betrayal situation there with the felines and the dragons is part of during the fall or before, during the confusion or whatever. So this year is considered to be a time of this healing of those nations,
Hmm.
dragons and uh, the feline nations, sort of
So
coming back together and they're coming back to the earth to uh, bringing their energies in um, to help create this new earth.
let me ask you this, because just like any negatives or positives, there's negative dragons as well, right?
Yes, that is what actually was part of what caused the fall, uh, if you will. Um, uh, in particular, a dragon named Khan, uh, and he was a great dragon leader. The dragon sort of had a hierarchy system, is how they
Hmm.
operate best. And so they sort of had a leader that uh, kind of became, like, hey, I can rule this. I have all this power, and sort of the story of, say your biblical story of the evil guy or the most powerful angel, or so to speak, that got too big for his britches or whatever kind of
Right.
story.
They
Wanted,
fell,
yeah,
so they
and
fell from the law of one.
yes, correct. And
Yeah.
so yes, they fell out of that, and in so doing, there was um, they sort of had a love thing going, a devotion and a love thing with the lion nation, with the feline nations, and so that's where the betrayal came in. Is where this Khan figure, he's sort of the some of the dragons fell and some of them did not, and so the ones that did not, they I forget the name of the planet or whatever that they sort of escaped to. It was sort of like all the other routes were being cut off, and there was some that were able to get out. And in so doing, they had relationships that produced offspring, a hybrid, so to speak, that became sort of because of the conflict that was going on. So now you have this hybrid of sort of like, well, it's not really one of this, it's not really one of that. So it's
Hmm.
a conflict thing of and so some of them became almost unwanted, sort of sort of like the repercussions of what sort of like a forced breeder program would have created. Uh, you
Well, they
know,
had their
so
own enslavement, just like a system, sounds like a system like us, you know.
yeah. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
the configure he was recruiting those hybrid dragons, and that was where the betrayal became. It's sort of like what they call pillow talk was used against the lion nations to
Hmm.
basically um, destroy them or whatever. And so that's another history. That it sort of ties in with all the Voyagers material, but
Oh, sure. Yeah,
it
we'll have to get more information on some of this thing. I would love to, for anyone who's watching this and listening, I would like to learn more about the Star Nations. So that's
yeah.
something I would like to deep dive into Star Nations.
Mhm.
Because
But yeah,
go
it's
ahead.
well, just saying as far as like the Dragon Masters and everything, as part of that, what that is transmuting that um, side of the dragons that did fall. It's transmuting that and bringing it back in.
You're healing the dragons that fell.
Yeah, it's running the codes
Yeah.
of what we call the undoing. We have codes that we speak to that undoes and reverses what we've
Reverse it.
done, and then we, bring in the new codes of.
Yeah. You're
Uh,
doing the Christos realignment for Elemental Kingdom then,
mhm.
and the Animal Kingdom, which we need. I- it's releasing their seals too. It's this Jehovian seal malarkey that's happened. So
Yeah,
if would you? Is there anything else you'd like to add? Because I do want to talk. Get the information. If some can anyone just join Dragon Masters if I wanted to do it? I mean,
yes, yeah.
anyone can do it, right? And is it like a membership kind of thing?
No, there's no membership. You can they have what they call the seal ceremony, and there's been thousands of people been sealed. And again, it's an acronym. It's not really a seal, depending on how you want to look at it, but it's an
Okay.
acronym for that source element ascension light. So sort of like a way to sort of activate you,
Yeah.
awaken your DNA, and that's what it's meant to do. Is to awaken and empower you to stand in the light that is within you, and to use that to help create and co-create, to be the healer, to be
Hmm.
a restorer of things to first principles, which we say is the Mahakawatahi, which Ma is first light, Ha is first breath, Ka is first form or birth, uh, Wa is first love, Ta is first fire, and then He is first, or Ta is first stone, He is first fire. So the Mahakawatahi, Tawakaha Ma is there back again from the first principles back to the first principles. And as part of the codes we use, and um,
When you say first principles, just for the viewers, because some of the lingo you use, people will not understand it. So, what does that mean? The first principles.
it's basically returning to that law of one, um, where, as I said, first love, first fire, first birth, first breath. All those first
Hmm.
things that are the original pure intentions of.
The breath of God, the first Partakai.
Yeah,
It all goes back to Partakai.
yeah, it
And
really
that's
does.
I mean, that's the beginning of creation is the breath of God, the seed of God. That's the inflow and outflow, the fission and fusion of a particle. The smallest portion of a particle is
Mhm.
Partakai. It's the smallest part of a particle of its consciousness. It's consciousness.
Yeah, and you could I mean, you could call it the 0 point or whatever you want to call it. It's the place where you know, it's where everything begins. The thought, from
That's
that thought,
right.
and it creates that begins that process. Uh,
Well, I'll get the information from you about Dragon Masters, and I'll leave it
yeah,
in the links here. I'll
but
leave
yeah,
links.
but yes, anyone can join. It is no membership. They have the seal part of it, and then there's the Dragon Masters course itself. If you go to hoh.earth and look on courses, and um, but it's the Dragon Masters. Everything it used to be broke up, but everything's all in the one the Dragon Masters course now, and it's a 50-day course. Um, and then there's graduation is once a year, the first week of June. Um,
And you
it,
just graduated.
yeah, this past June
Yeah.
first
Your
and this.
your ceremony was very beautiful. I started tearing up because I didn't realize, like, after you sent me the video about your roundtable with the group, the Crystal Grid Workers, and then your graduation, I put the pieces together and I'm like, oh my God, this is so amazing. It is a real calling for people to do this, and it seems very emotional after you do this 50-day course, and then you go through a graduation and you get your name too, right?
Yes, yeah,
I,
if I could speak to the name too, real quick, just what
yeah,
it means.
yeah. Let's hear it.
So the Mawa, so Huna is one in the many and many in the one. That's what Huna means. So, uh, all of us are Huna essentially. Um, we just, as being sealed, then you, I guess, then you refer to as Huna. Calling myself Huna just means I've been sealed with that sealed thing.
Okay.
So the MaWaHaRi part is, of course, Ma is first light, Wa is first love, Ha is first breath, and the Re part, um, they all have more extensive connotations depending on how how the other parts fit into it. But so Re essentially, but is refers to like the royal family aspect. So, but so MaWaHaRi. So what that means is, I am the unblinding first light who celebrates the first love and the first breath from the crystal throne of light at the door of the child. And so that's interesting. I wasn't too sure about what that all meant at first, but then as I started to get into that
Hmm.
and going into the Star Nation stuff, really helped me. It broke it wide open with understanding that.
Oh,
Uh,
sure. I would imagine so. I mean, this it's is it as complicated as chelantic science?
well, it depends on the information or whatever that you get about it, or the realization that you have, or whatever. But because so that part, the door of the child, as I found out what that is, that refers to the Southern Cross. And so the Southern Cross is a physical location. Of course, we have the Southern Cross constellation. And then it also refers to a metaphysical place, which is the place of the heart space. Um, that is the door of the child.
Well,
And
and you mentioned sun. We come from the sun, our
mhm,
lineages. We are a child of the sun. The sun is a star. We are star
yeah,
seeds from the sun. Two suns, right? Portal.
yes,
Is the sun a portal or a stargate? Can't remember. I think it's a portal.
yeah, I believe it is a portal. Um,
And the sun also activates, hence why we have some beautiful things in our, I'm being sarcastic, of course, those chemical things. They don't want us to activate in a sense, so they dim it and chemicals, whatever. But
yeah, that door of the child. I'll just go through that right quick. So the door of the child. the Southern Cross.
Mhm.
Many people are familiar with that. Um, so it's a eight dimensional star. It's the uh, so it's A crux. It's the four stars. It's A crux, B crux, Gay crux, and Delta crucis. Which the A crux represents now, and each star represents a ray, a color,
Mhm, right. Yeah.
and so
What
so
book are you reading? What are you reading it from, though? Is that Kilantic or is it
no,
Dragon Master?
right now I'm just reading from some notes that
Okay.
I think this came from Star Nations. Star Nations.
I want to compare it to what Kilantic. I wonder how it. You should because you've read it, but do you think it's very similar?
Yeah, well, I was going to speak to. So the A crux represents the in the Dragon Masters we have a what we call a login, and then we have an intention amplifier. And so in the intention amplifier, it speaks about the four pillars, about um, understanding the four pillars and being the hands of the healer. And so uh, I, I found out through this what I'm about to read is what the four pillars were, and and that helps you understand what the hands of the healer helped me understand that aspect of the Dragon Masters. So the A crux represents the red ray, and it's the pillar of divine love, represented by Mary Magdalene. And so the Mary Magdalene also represents the feminine serpent codes that did not fall. That's one of the fallen nations was the angels, the dragons, the serpents, and the arthropods.
Okay.
So A crux represents pillar of divine love. B crux, blue ray, represents the pillar of divine law, represented by Sarah, the child of Jesus and Mary Magdalene. Uh, the gay crux, the yellow ray, pillar of divine mercy, represented by Mother Mary. Delta crucis, gold, pillar of divine mind or divine will, represents the Holy Spirit, and the divine will being the intention of the light within us. And so it also corresponds to the 144 number of the one
Oh, okay.
whole, so those four pillars, and those four pillars are represented by four apostles at each pillar, and the fourth one being they're surrounded by three apostles at each one, with the fourth one sort of being kind of hidden on the inside, and that's all represented by a feminine aspect, that fourth hidden one. But yes, so the one Christ saw, the four pillars, and the four apostles that each is representative of that 144, and that 1 plus 4 plus 4 equals 9, which is represented by the Christ mind. Um, so, uh, so that's just an interesting aspect of what the uh, Southern Cross represents. That's all that entailed in the Southern Cross, and then that being part of the essence of what the Huna essence that I represent. Um,
Well, thank you for
Good.
sharing that. That's very interesting, and I'm sure some of the viewers will feel a connection to that. Um, and if they do, and you have an interest in looking up Dragon Masters, just go ahead and look. They have a website, right? What is the
Yeah,
website's name?
hoh.earth is the website. They running everything off .earth. Another way to get off the old system from .com, which is a commercial over market. So it's a debt enslavement system.
Yeah,
So we
yeah.
want to go to .earth.
But things are changing. Things are really starting to heat up here. So
Yes.
it's going to be interesting where things. Just enjoy the show.
Yeah,
as much as one humanly can.
yeah,
Um, it's keep those pillars of light anchored into the earth, anchored into your soul, all the way up to the heavens and parallel earth and inner earth and heal all the grid systems, right?
correct.
We need healing. We're still in the healing mode. It's a lot of healing, it's a lot of work. It feels never ending.
Yeah, it is, and you know, and the thing about grid work too is anybody really can do grid work.
Absolutely.
Um,
Yeah,
in the sense of just with your thoughts and intentions, wherever you are, you can speak to the earth. You know, um, your breath is sacred, and what you say has an effect. Everything that you say, it's like speaking to water. I don't know if you're familiar
yes.
with Emoto and the
Oh,
mess,
yeah.
hidden messages in water, you know, and so what you speak will have an effect on everything. So anybody in that sense can do grid work because it's very similar.
That's
Uh,
right. Yeah,
to,
because our voice, it's electrotonal. So
hmm
our words have codes and frequency in them, and they connect to our own crystals in our own body as well as others. That's resonance. That's the function of things that resonate.
Yeah, and that's a big part of what the Keylonic sciences teaches is that we are crystalline bodies,
That's right.
and so it's just a matter of awakening and developing that.
Well, I really appreciate your time. Thank you for taking the time. Oh, you wanted to say something
I,
else?
I got it. Yeah, I it's still back on the manifestation thing because it's like it's so much. So during the and that's why maybe a chance go back and watch the Zoom that we did because like I said, Nicole said so. One of the things that she said was that she saw a box. She saw me receiving a box of crystals, and she asked. She showed a crystal. She said. She asked me about my crystals, what I've been working with, and describe them. And so she said, "Well, what I'm seeing is one, and it looks like this." And so she showed one, and so during the Arkansas trip, I wasn't able to make it physically, so I was doing remote work and everything.
Mhm.
So the team that was there, they said, "All right, we're going to send you a box of crystals after they did their crystal hunting and everything." So they sent. So I got a box yesterday.
Oh, that's so great. You gotta
Actually, got a
contact.
box.
Ah,
Actually, got a
you
box.
gotta, you need to email her and tell her.
I did already, just
Oh,
prior to the show.
that's
Uh,
so amazing. That's
so
so cool.
yeah, so in the box,
Look at that. You got some, that's crystal quartz, right? That's not
quartz.
selenite.
Yes, this is Lemurian quartz.
Lemur, yeah, I like Lemurian, love Lemurian quartz, but I have a hard time knowing what is Lemurian. I know the facets, they're vertical, aren't they?
Yeah, they have some like
That's
striation
cool.
goes right here.
That's really cool. So that's the difference with the Lemurian quartz has vertical facets, like lines in it, right?
Yes, yeah, yes, got a line.
Okay. That's
And
so
then so
great. She
yeah,
manifested that for you.
well because and this is what she showed was something that looked similar to this. It had a little more
Mm-hmm.
like red color to it.
Okay.
This was in the box. This one
What a lovely gift.
that was in there.
That's so cool.
And then let's see if I
I can't, it's hard to see. It's
yeah,
very, yeah, I can't see it through this Zoom here.
but this one's more.
Wow.
This one's really clear, more clear.
Well, thank you for sharing. That's so cool. And what a
And
lovely gift. And it was
yeah,
manifested.
yeah. This one right here looks almost like what was showed in the manifestation video.
Okay. Very nice.
Had these colors, and the one that she showed looked a lot like that.
That's
So,
I love
yeah,
it.
this was just sent to me for work, Arkansas, and then it has it had another one in here. This one is it's still wrapped up, packaged
Yeah.
up, but this one's for me to take to Oslo, Norway. So request
Well,
take there.
you have a lot of travels coming up, and so we'll have to have you back on the shows and hear about how your trips went. Okay. I
And
appreciate. Oh, there's more.
one more.
Okay.
Yes. So this
You
is
got a lot.
I mentioned this during the manifestation video. I was going to show you. I didn't get a chance, but this is what we call the Kotahara. Kotahara. This is something we use in the Dragon Masters for our
Okay.
ceremonies. So what this is is an impact quartz from a certain area, Lemurian quartz, and it's ground into powder essentially, and so it's
Oh, wow.
crystal dust that we call it the love pollinator.
Oh, I love that. That's
Yeah.
cool. That's
So,
really,
yeah,
really cool.
yeah, we just
You sprinkle it around as you do
sprinkle it
your
around.
work.
I keep it, I carry some little vial or something in my pocket, and if I go somewhere, I sprinkle it around different places.
I love that. That is so
Anywhere
great.
there's a distortion that we see, we sprinkle some on there, speak codes, and do whatever we do. We do what we call water weaving, where you go to a river, any body of water. Rivers are
Yeah.
good. You can sprinkle some in the river and speak whatever your intentions are. And I just did one in about an hour southwest of Richmond, Virginia, and I was um, into the river there, and I went back and was looking at just where that river went out, and it actually flowed several hundred miles or a few hundred miles, anyways, out into down into North Carolina. It's in Virginia, but it flowed down into eastern North Carolina and out into the Atlantic Ocean. So
It travels.
yeah,
That's really, really cool. So you're moving all that crystal grid work through the rivers all the way down.
yes,
I'm going to have to end this because I have only a certain amount of time. This is why I've been kind of like leaning towards it because of my editing. I don't have really great editing skills yet. And I have limited recording time on my
all right.
app, on the devices I use. So this is why I'm like, we're getting close to an hour and a half here. That went by really fast.
Yeah,
Dwayne.
well, I got more work coming, so we'll I'm sure we can do it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having, taking the time and being on the Pulse to Consciousness. How high are you? You're high in consciousness. You're combating these crystal grids, doing all this amazing work with your groups. And thank you so much for everything that you do. And may everybody on this video, watching this video, may the light fill you from your inner body all the way up to the high heavens, all the way back down, all the way past your toes into the earth. And may you create a force, a field around you of the healing 12D energy fields of the MaWaHaRi current that is healing. And may you heal others as you walk past them. This energy field is around you. It stays with you for a few hours. You built up this energy, the MaWaHaRi seal. And this also helps the grid because this current goes all the way up to the heavens, all the way down to the inner earth, and it extends all the way to parallel earth as well, where there's a parallel of you. So may all your manifestation desires come true, and may you heal, and much love. Thank you for joining us, and take care. Bye-bye.